feel, because, like, I don't want to, like, look sharply over to look at your camera, but, like, it's easier for, I don't know, because I guess this is fine. This is fine. Everything's fine.
Okay. Who's gonna play music in the background? They can't hear you.
Are you good, Patrick? Are you good?
I'm great.
Are you good? Okay, hello everybody. How's it going? Hey Bones, what's going on?
Hello.
So, welcome back to our first little news segment thingy. I'm so excited to do it. Are you excited, Patrick? You look like
I've been looking forward to it.
Yes.
It was like this was literally like off the cuff type of scenario. We were like, let's do something exciting. Let's do something different.
Well, we also rant enough while we're playing video games that this is like right up our alley.
100%.
I mean, am I wrong? Yeah.
100%.
I didn't change my room bones. I changed the position of my camera because I was having like lighting issues. So, as you know, I'm like very pasty on camera, so I had to change some things around.
You're pasty all the time.
That's not incorrect, but ghostly on camera. But without further ado, Patrick, do you want to jump into it? I mean, the whole reason we did this was because we're excited about the Sea of Thieves anniversary update.
Yes, 100%. Yes. So...
You can go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when I watched the trailer, I got super fucking excited about this particular...
I got tingles that not even ASMR can give me, because I think my favorite thing about it was the damage segment thing, the new, like, the mask falling down. Oh my god, that was amazing. But
that was definitely worth it.
So this update is going to come out on April 30th. It's going to... I read this article, which I love the title of. Sea of Thieves Anniversary Update includes an ocean of adventures, harpoons, quests, PvP arenas, and more. Which is a very apt title. So, this write-up comes from Cass Marshall at Polygon, and she says that there's going to be, according to the trailer, going to be a couple of new things added. There's going to be a new quest line called Tall Tales. So far, we've only seen one of the quest lines revealed, and that is Shores of Gold. Don't know a lot about it other than it involves some new charting techniques, like you follow constellations. There's some scenes where you're in an underground cavern and you get chased by skeletons. There's some traps and stuff like that. And my favorite thing about it is that it's not going to be timed like the other quests that you have to do. Are you excited about that, or are you not affected by a time crunch?
It's hard for me. I'm not super affected by a time crunch. I think that there's a lot of like quest lines and things like that that happen, especially when you play like MMORPGs and things. They don't necessarily affect me. What I am super excited about is the fact that they're adding major quest lines into the game.
Something that feels a little bit more solid than like the little quests that you pick up from vendors and stuff. Exactly.
And I think, that was my biggest gripe with the game so far, was that you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And that is what is mind-numbing to some people, I feel like. So the whole edition with a bunch of different quest lines, and at least even at the start of one, like the Constellation, you saw what they were doing literally in that trailer. And that trailer was, you took your scope or telescope, looked up at the stars, and a constellation formed, and you were charting that way. So that's the exciting part.
That was very exciting. I hope that's not something that's just endemic to the quests, because if you can navigate that way, that would, like, it'll just make it a little bit easier, especially as you know, on our adventures, sometimes our crew has a tendency to get separated. It happens. Somebody gets knocked off the ship, or somebody accidentally, like me, falls off the bow trying to be smart. And you have
launch yourself off.
And you have to do your best to be like, I'm on the island that's shaped like a thing, there's clouds in the sky, but if you can look up and be like, hey, there's a constellation, and it's at your 6 o'clock, and I'm right beneath it, that will, like, drastically just change the narrative. It will be amazing. Because it's not necessarily annoying, it's just I don't know how to word this. It's realistic, I get that, but it is just kind of a bad thing about the realism, is that if you fall off a ship, you have to just listen to your best guidance skills, and mine are not great.
Yeah, and I mean, John just chimed in and said, some people are okay with redundancy, and that's great. I think myself as a gamer, I've been gaming probably longer than I would care to admit to, honestly.
Go ahead and date yourself.
I'm what, 20? I'll be 27 at the end of this year, so we're looking at
basically 50.
Since I was 12, so basically when I'm dead. But they definitely, I need something more than the redundancy of the game for me to stay intrigued. There has to be some sort of quest line, and that's the problem I had with games like World of Warcraft, is like once you hit a certain point, you don't want to do anything else. It's because it's the same repetitive quest. It's the same thing over and over again. So changing that up isn't a bad thing. And I think that this game is going to highly benefit from adding in some moments, some quest lines.
I agree with the redundancy thing, but to your point, the thing about Sea of Thieves is unlike Destiny, for example, one of its biggest failures to me is that it is just like hugely repetitive. And I mean, it's a fun game. The mechanics are great. I love the gunplay. I love decorating my guardian. But with Sea of Thieves, I don't feel like, because in an MMO, you go and if you start a character over, or if you're doing a quest, you pretty much have figured out the meta of that MMO. There's going to be like creatures here you fight, maybe you get ambushed on the way there, and it's going to be the same every time you play. But with Sea of Thieves, I feel like even though it's the same thing, like, oh, you go and you have to grab these chests, or you have to kill these pirates and get their skulls and bring them back. Something different tends to happen every time that we go out. Like, we get double teamed by a ghost ship and another player, double teamed by 2 players. We fight the same player, we follow them to different islands, we wind up getting distracted by a megalodon or barrels in the water. Something different happens every time. Granted, we have not been playing a year as long as this game has been out. So maybe for some people, the monotony has gotten to them. I don't know. But for us, it feels different. And I like that about this game.
Yeah. And to touch kind of on that, a good example is yesterday. I was very well planning on streaming to play a totally different game. I still had a ton of setup I had to do for that. And I get home and Jonathan is like, hey, can you help me with this? And I was like, sure. He's like, I'm almost done. It's fine. Just jump on. So I get on. 10 minutes was what we were supposed to be doing. And then 45 minutes later, because this string of events just happened, and you're just like, I can't keep up with that. I can't. It's you know, we got double teamed by I think we ended up with a ghost ship that wouldn't leave us alone. He had to go and deal with 2 more islands after I had already logged on. So I was just like, that's the way that the cookies crumbled, I guess. So I totally get that. That's definitely a one of the selling points, and probably why some of the people still play.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing, I mean, if you're into the PvP thing, which in most games I am not very much into PvP. I get my ass handed to me. I think it's because I get discouraged and I don't devote enough time to get good at it. So that's probably my biggest failure. But, I like the PvP in Sea of Thieves in that it's incidental, but they're actually going to be adding in this anniversary update at a PvP arena, which is a separate queue from the main queue where you just go into the world. It was announced last year in November. Originally, it was going to be standalone content, never happened, and now they're just going to bundle it with the update. So it was in the trailer too. It hinted at maybe a new ship type. It looked like there was, I don't know my nautical terms, but it looked like there was a ship that was like substantially larger than even the galleon that was participating in the battle between the ships. And that was also where the damage mechanic was revealed, where you can actually chop down people's sails, which will be amazing because you don't have to just shoot for the waterline to slow people down anymore.
Yeah, and that's that. So 2 things on the whole arena update. I don't know about a new ship type. I think they would have to revise their entire party system, right? Unless you're planning on playing a 4-player with a very much larger ship, which if that's the case, then that's great. I think the whole shooting of the mast is a wonderful mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
because
I think should have been day one, but
yeah, 100%. Because if you think about it, you're as a sloop, you sit lower to the ground than something like a galleon does. So if you're if you're too far away and your ship's rocking back and forth because it's a smaller ship, you have more variety in hitting not just the water line. And even like ghost ships, for example, if this mechanic applies to ghost ships, you're looking at, think about the time when we had to fight the ghost ship. We were lucky if we hit the water line sometimes, because they were just so high, and we weren't. So that's going to be a great mechanic, and definitely something that I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to being trolled by it.
Well, so here's the thing. You only get like a little 5-second glimpse of the ship. It looks like it's a little bit longer, maybe a deck higher than the galleon. So what I'm thinking, and we talked about this the other night when we were playing, it looks like it might have that extra gun deck that we were talking about. I think that might be the caveat to it, which it won't make it more difficult to handle like when you're just sailing or anything, but it will make it a little bit more difficult to handle when you're in a gun battle. It'll be an advantage and a disadvantage, because you don't have to reload a cannon or anything, you just run downstairs and somebody will be, and this is all speculation obviously, and you'll be protected. So, but the bad thing about that is that you won't have eyes on like you do when you're just up on the open deck. So yeah, you're going to be relying a little bit more on whoever's up top to give you directions. I mean, you'll obviously be able to see some because you wouldn't be able to aim the cannon without it, but that's kind of what it looked like to me. Couldn't really tell. It was but it looked maybe not even necessarily a different ship, maybe an upgraded type of galleon. I don't know, but it looked different to me. That's just the impression that I got.
And I think on the arena note, outside of it, almost looked like there was some sort of outside obstacle course that didn't take place.
Yes, it looked like there was debris in the water and rocks and
like a swinging something.
A Battle Royale?
Right.
Is that what this? Did they sneak a Battle Royale in on us?
Be a smart choice, wouldn't it? But
they released this game. They're like, "Psych! You've been playing a Battle Royale the whole time. Have fun with that."
Yeah, no kidding. And I think we'll see. I mean, up until we actually see that, they alluded to a lot of stuff that happened off of a ship in this trailer.
Yes.
A lot of stuff. The banners falling from the ceiling, the woman captain sitting in the tub. Obviously, that's a little weird, but there's something attached to it. Right, there's something attached to it. John asked, what if the bigger ship isn't a player ship but an event or something, so you can shoot the mast? Are the smaller ships going to be able to lose their mast as well? These are the questions.
That is an excellent question. We don't know. I mean, all that was in the trailer and all that we know from any of the sources we've looked up, like I've looked on Polygon and Eurogamer and Kotaku, they all say the same thing. Breaking masts are coming. That just seems to be the general consensus. To John's point, it could be kind of like a supply ship from Apex Legends kind of situation, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That is an excellent question. We just don't know. Just don't know.
No, we don't. And that's probably I don't think they would tease that unless there was something attached to it. I don't think that they would be like, hey, you can shoot mass now and not be able to do it from a player perspective.
They would get, if you couldn't do that for everything, they already had kind of a rocky launch. And they have some really loyal people that have stuck with them for a year, but other than that, it was not all that it was hyped up to be. Not to the extent of some other games I could name, but they would get some major community backlash for that one. If they're like, why would you even put this in the trailer? Why would you do this for one thing in a PvP arena? We couldn't do this everywhere.
Right. I mean, I don't think that the arena is going to be a thing that you instance for. I think that I'm curious to see how they're going to tie it in, but I genuinely don't believe that, like, I'm thinking like, wow, WoW Battlegrounds, for example, or any battleground type of scenario where you instance for it, join it, and then you're good to go. I think they're going to do something that's going to tie it into the open world, because that's the entire point of Sea of Thieves, is that everything is open world. So I'm curious to see what they do with that.
I could see that too. The general consensus from the reports I've read, they seem to think that it is going to be a separate queue. That was not outright mentioned in the trailer, and it's not outright mentioned on Sea of Thieves. I could kind of see it happening because as a separate instance, because like, I don't know, unless it's going to just be, it pops up in random locations every so often, like where are they going to put this thing? I mean, I know it's a big ocean, but if you're just sailing along, you're like, I have to go point A to point B to do this quest, and you're like, oh, the fucking arena's right there, I have to go around that now. You're probably not going to be too happy about that.
Not at all. Not at all.
But they are also going to add, this is just was mentioned on SeaofThieves.com in passing, and they didn't expand on it in any way. They're going to add a new trading company called the Hunter's Call. Don't know exactly what that means, but I'm guessing that it ties into the fact that they're going to be adding in some new mechanics like fishing, which is so exciting for me because I fucking live for fishing mechanics in games. It is one of my favorite things. Don't really care for fishing in real life. If a game has a good fishing mechanic, I'm sold. Just that's all you need to advertise for me. I will buy your thing.
I think I don't know how they're gonna do that. I think Hunter's Call could go one of two ways. I'm not talking about the fishing mechanic. I'm super excited about that, and I'll touch on that in just a second. But the Hunter's Call can go one of two ways. Currently, a hunter is considered like those sharks and krakens and things like that, because you have the hunter skins, you have the hunter outfits.
That's right.
So
yeah, that was like one of the first ones I got. You're right.
Right. No, you're fine. And I think that's definitely something that they're probably going to be doing, something along those lines. So go hunt this, go fish this, go hunt or kill this animal. So and they might even tie in the lesser utilized chicken coops and pigs and things like that you don't or snakes. Don't even get me started about the stupid snake mechanic that's in this game.
The snakes are... The fact that they're spitting cobras of all things, so even if you try to avoid them, you're still going to get poisoned, is so...
Right.
Aggravating.
Right. But do you know there's a snake basket, right?
I did not know that. I've never come across this.
You can get a snake basket, and you can put a snake in the basket, but to do that, you have to play an instrument and charm it, but the charming mechanism only lasts for maybe a minute or two, and if you're carrying said basket while it comes to, it's going to spit right up in your face.
Well, we've all been there. Anyways, but my tie-in with that is, like you said, I think that they must be doing something with hunting, like some unused mechanic with the chickens and the pigs and sea creatures, too. Like, kill 7 sharks, or go collect 5 pig skins and bring it back to me, or chicken feathers or something like that. And they are also, from the trailer, it looks like they're going to be adding cooking and some kind of expanded crafting system. So I think that it must tie in with that, and I'm so excited. This game, I feel like that's the one thing this game is missing, is some kind of crafting system. Like, maybe I'm just spoiling everything with my little survivalist hands playing stuff like Minecraft, but a crafting system. Like, if you could just make your own, like, cutlasses and telescope, like, to a degree, because I know they really want you to go out and do quests, earn the gold to buy it from shops, because then what's the point of the shops if you can just make it yourself? Unless they make the materials really, really, really hard to obtain. And, like, you have to know and memorize the islands that they're on, because, like, let's say this rock has iron, or this island has iron, and this island has tin, and then you have to know that and memorize that. That's how I could see them adding that in.
Yeah, I mean, there needed to be something more. Granted, and I think I said this in Discord the other day, where we have that awesome, wonderful, well thought out, finely executed music system in the game.
The music system is sexy. sexy.
It's so good. What it reminds me of is that it rivals Lord of the Rings Online. Did you ever play that game?
I tried to play that game last year for the first time. I'm sure it's one of those things that I'm overly critical of because it does have a little age on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's free, so I might give it another shot one of these days. But it seemed a little, I don't know, it just seemed like it hadn't been revamped in a while, and it also was just a tad bit infantile.
Yeah, it's very dated. Very, very dated. And that's... And the combat is very different. It's much slower in that game than you're used to in a lot of other MMOs. Yeah. However, the music system in that game was so fucking good. And the reason that I say that is because there was a variety of instruments. You could literally play the drums, you could play the flute, you could play the guitar, whatever they call a lute, I think. But people could develop music pieces. And I'm not kidding. They would develop music pieces, you put it in your game, and you got the lute part, and you played the lute part, and then someone else got the flute part, and someone else got the drum part, and it would all tie itself together. And they would make everything. It wasn't just tied to the 3 or 4 songs that Sea of Thieves has now, but it was complicated. And I think this game simplified that quite a bit by not giving you that choice.
I would not have expected that complexity from this maybe sounds critical, but from Lord of the Rings Online, a free-to-play game from like 2003.
It used to be free to play though. It used to be a pay, just like, because it came out around the same time that World of Warcraft did. I think WoW had a few years on it, but it was massively popular. The problem is that they made it free to play, and then they made it microtransaction based and DLC based and things like that. So that kind of killed the game off a little bit, but it used to be a very expensive game to play, just like WoW is.
I mean, I guess, I don't know exactly when that game came out, but I guess back in its day, I'm guessing it came out before 2010. So...
Lord of the Rings Online?
Yeah, so I'm guessing like within a relatively recent period of the movies coming out. So back in that time, it was probably a really big effing deal. And I could see people like sinking a couple $100 into it, kind of like I have done with a game.
Yeah, I mean, it came out at 2007. But the thing is that you didn't have that choice when the game came out. You paid for the game, you paid for the subscription, and you had access to everything. You obviously had the variety of expansion packs that came with it, but that was pretty much it. I think we're getting a little off topic. However, my point remains that the game itself has a very well thought out music system, which is very, very entertaining, but can only go so far. You can only play the same 4 songs over and over and over again. So... That's
true. I mean, that's not something I actively do. It's just a nice, cute little thing to do. Like, if you can get everybody going at once for, like, 30 seconds. It's like, oh, this is fun. This is having fun. We're bonding. But other than that, it's not intricate like what you just told me about Lord of the Rings. But...
No, but...
It's cute. If they would add a little bit more variety, which we have so many... sea shanties to go off of from history. Like, I mean, I don't know why they haven't added more already. There's like 4 songs that I know of that's already in there, and that's it. But it's so much more that could be done with that.
100%.
But
and
I know it's a tangent, but speaking of free to play, do you think WoW will ever go free to play?
No.
Never? You think
never.
That's just got that staunch a base that it's never coming?
And I mean, going off topic here, I think I played WoW, and I played it recently, and I have such a love for that game. I really, really do. And I think it could be tied in with a nostalgia because I played it in vanilla. I think it could be a variety of things. But the problem with that game now is it is becoming repetitive. Just and it's there's
that's the thing though. It's how many years old is WoW? That game
old.
Came out, Yes, that...
25, I think.
Repetitiveness is... repetition, rather, that would be the word. It's bound to happen when you reach that kind of age.
Yeah, I
myself have only played like 5 minutes of WoW, and I have to tell you, I didn't really get into it.
But why is that?
Well, I played it recently. Like, I played it for the first time in like June of last year, actually. And it was right after like the graphics overhaul update, I think. And I remember seeing that game when I was younger and it had first come out, and I used to watch G4 TV, which, if anyone remembers G4 TV.
Yep, I remember that.
You're as ancient as I am.
Yep.
And thinking, wow, that looks so cool, but I didn't have a PC back in those days. I was still playing like the PlayStation 2. So, then when I got my PC, I finally realized my dream of, I can finally play that game that amazed me like 15 years ago. And it was just like, I don't know, it was like nothing special to me. I like Elder Scrolls Online or Guild Wars 2 better, because for one, there's no subscription required.
I mean, that's definitely a major selling point. I mean, the game is 15 years old. Okay. It was released in 2004.
That sounds about right.
So that's a pretty significant landmark. They won't make it free to play though. And I think there is some level of microtransactions available in WoW. They have the Blizzard store now, I think, integrated into WoW, which is a little disappointing. But in the long run, it's all cosmetic stuff. It's not anything that's going to make you better at the game.
That's the thing. As I have a problem with microtransactions. If they will shortcut you or make you better. Cosmetics, I will give you my money for cosmetics. I will gladly give you all of my money for cosmetics. I like to look good. I like aesthetics in video games. That's fine.
And I think there's 100% something to be said for that. But I think where WoW is going wrong is that there's nothing to strive for anymore.
Oh, that sounds so tragic, actually.
It's very tragic.
Worth fighting for.
Because there isn't. Because I played it for so long, I have such an incredible history about the game, and I've seen it go from where it used to be to what it is now. And think about, you probably didn't know anything about it, but some of the viewers and things like that is back in the day, you had to fight for the crap that you wanted. And, if you wanted to do PvP, that is what you did. And that was the armor that you strive for. There was a rank system, and if you didn't play all the time, your rank would be crap. It doesn't matter how many games you played, because it reset every single week. And then you also had raiding. If you wanted to raid, you had to go through the raiding process. You had to join with a guild, and you had to do all these things over and over and over and over again, and hope that you had enough what they call DKP. Dragon Kill Points, which was a system that they used for every single time you raided. You accumulated these points, and you were able to roll against somebody else to get this piece of armor. And that was the game, and you had to keep going, and you had to keep striving. Now they're adding a casuality element to it of being all run and gun, essentially. There's no... Think about Overwatch and loot boxes, right? All that stuff is, for the most part, cosmetic. But in this game, if you do a battleground and you win, there is a percentage chance that you're going to get this piece of armor. And this piece of armor is going to be random. And that sucks because you don't get to choose anymore like you used to back in the day. And you can join raids all the time, and it's all random gear.
That's the thing. Loot boxes are vastly different to me than microtransactions. The RNGesus of it all, absolutely sickening. Cannot deal.
But that's all WoW is now. And that's the sad part, is that anybody could go through, like, if you saw back in the day what they considered a Grand Marshal, which was like the highest ranked PvP person ever, first of all, you didn't fuck with them, because they'd kick your ass. 100%. You avoided them. It doesn't matter how badass you thought you were, you're not as badass as that person.
That was somebody that played that game for a living before playing games for a living was a thing.
100%. To get to that game, to get to that rank, it took an insane amount of time, and then you had to sit there and play over and over and over again and put in like 200, 300, 400 games hoping that you're winning every single week because you would be graded every week on weekly maintenance.
So do you mean winning 300 to 400 games or playing and hoping you win the majority? Because you would have to play, like, that would take up your soul.
It did. People were 100% into this game. And they would go hard. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you walked up to a Grand Marshal and you were like a horde and you walked up to an Alliance Grand Marshal, you didn't fuck with them. Because...
Okay. I have a question. Was there anything about the rank that gave you an advantage, or was it just the fact that they had it, that they were probably going to be a better player than you?
The rank gave you an advantage because it gave you access to gear that you couldn't get otherwise.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you had to put in the time to get that rank. And it obviously gave you the title above your name, so people knew that you were there. And the moment that you took a break and you lost that rank, title's gone.
That's the thing with systems like that. If you want to fucking take a mental health break, you cannot, because you are just going to get out of the loop. Especially if they push an update or something. No, just forget it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that's my point about the whole WoW tangent that we just went on, is that it's run and gun is primarily the reason that a lot of these games are doing wrong, and that's my personal opinion. Sea of Thieves, one of the reasons I like this game is because you get zero advantage on anything. It's strictly cosmetic, and I'm okay with that.
And all of the encounters that you have with other players is who can outsmart who. It's not based on anything that you have. There's no stats on your gear. That is fun. Even if you lose that battle, it's still like, oh, well, you got me, but I know what to do next time. So I like that.
Yep.
So we did go off on quite the tangent there, but
that's quite alright.
But to sort of wrap up the Sea of Thieves news, they are going to be doing some like preview events. SeaofThieves.com is they're going to tease Tall Tales Shores of Gold on April 23rd at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 if you're on the legendary West Coast. They're going to tease the arena on Wednesday, April 10th at 12 p.m. All these times are going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And then they're going to tease the Hunter's Call on April 16th, all leading up to obviously the 30th until they release it. And then they're also, I think it starts the week before. It was not quite specific, the article I read. They're going to be releasing some anniversary events. It's mostly, it doesn't really matter to you or I, since we've been playing this game for 2 months. It's going to be stuff like, they're going to, these things where they're going to have some new mercenary and Reaper's Run voyages, and new commendations and cosmetics. If you're a pirate legend, which I don't know much about, I assume it's something that you gain if you've been playing this game for a while. You're going to get gilded mercenary voyages, the Captain Bones cutlass, access to a bunch of gold. Like the gold is very much in this year. Access to gold cosmetics for like your weapons, your outfits, and your ship. And they're going to be giving some things away to people who have been playing since the release date for a year now. And like they're going to be giving gamer picks and themes for the Xbox, which doesn't really matter to me, but
right.
They're going to be releasing We Shall Sail Together on all the major streaming.
Amazing song. Listen to it in the car on the way home today.
Fantastic song. They're going to be releasing it on Spotify and iTunes and Google Play and Amazon Music, whichever your platform of choice may be.
The whole note on Pirate Legends, just so you're aware, is all those little factions and reputations that you have to hit 50 with every single one.
Oh,
and then I think there's a minor quest line. And so when you see those pirates that have like the glowing fucking sails and the flag and their uniform is glowing, Pirate Legends.
No. Going back quickly to what you said earlier about like all the ship-based stuff, like the banners in the tavern. It looks to me like maybe those are trophies, like you claim the personal banner of whoever you kill, which makes me think our personal banner is going to be a thing. That would be cool if you could design a logo for your crew, kind of like Black Ops emblem style.
That would be cool. I'm not overly sure. That's an interesting concept. Or are they saying that you can claim a tavern or an outpost?
Ooh, are there gonna be like neutral zone outposts, like best pirate win, and then I mean, can you fight on outposts? Like once you get on the ground, can somebody?
Yes,
you can. I did not know that. So maybe there's gonna be some kind of scenario where you can gain control of certain ones. I don't imagine that they would do it with existing outposts. They might add a couple of others because you're like, I always hang out in this area of the map, and someone goddamn took my outpost. Then they're probably not gonna be too happy. But other than that,
I'm sure there's at some point there's gonna be something that you're gonna be able to kind of touch on. In that banner scenario, it might be arena based. I'm thinking that it's gonna be a lot of arena based something or other.
Yeah,
but we shall see.
Well, I think that's about it for Sea of Thieves, unless you can think of anything else.
Harpoons.
Harpoons! I've read about the harpoons! There is a scene in the trailer where you harpoon a megalodon, and that has me wondering, can you harpoon other players? That would be like someone gets cocky and comes up alongside you, and you're like, no man, and you harpoon them and pull them off of their ship onto yours, and then you murder them.
That would be great.
I'm a little too excited to say that.
A little bit. It kind of creeped me out. You're like, harpoons! Yes! I think... I don't know. I don't know how that harpoon system's going to work. I would hope that you'd be able to harpoon someone else's ship to make it easier for you to follow them in some capacity.
Or maybe reel them in. It didn't really specify how it worked, because there was the scene, like I said, where someone harpooned a megalodon, but it doesn't like specify what that exactly means as a mechanic. Like, is that going to slow down the megalodon? Is that going to make it drag your ship around? Are you going to be able to reel it in? Is it going to make it easier to fight it? Is it going to make it harder to fight it because it's always close to you? I don't know. So many questions for that.
And we won't know the answers until April 30th.
April 30th, yes. Well, I think that's about it for Sea of Thieves. So now we can go on to the topic that I've actually listed wanting to talk about. I'm going to preface this by saying that Battlefield 5 was like a very disappointing experience for me overall. I did buy the deluxe edition, so that way I was able to play it 3 days early, because I misunderstood the situation insofar as multiplayer goes. Because, I mean, obviously that game has some amazing campaign missions. They're a little bit different than the past. Like, they're in separate segmented stories now, not one cohesive campaign. But there was one in particular that stood out, which was The Last Tiger, where you're playing as a Tiger tank's crew in like the waning days of the war. Like, the Allies are literally on the doorstep of Berlin, and you see the commander of the tank. He starts to go through this change where he's like, is this like cause that I've been fighting for? Have they been leading us on? Is this wrong? And are Nazis bad? Kind of transition that he goes through. It's very, oh my god, it's so good. I think it was actually one of the first things that I streamed when I started streaming again, and I was so excited for it. It took me it takes like an hour to complete, so if you have it, it's definitely worth playing. A very poignant story. Some people had a lot of problems with it. They're like, this is pandering to Nazis, which I did not get. I got the impression that, like, oh, even your worst monsters are human beings, and maybe they come to realizations, but that's a separate discussion for another time. Anyways, Battlefield Firestorm. I did not really care for the multiplayer in this game. Really do not play it very often. Every once in a while I might pop in, because there is no hardcore mode, which is a problem for me, because it does not feel lethal enough in core. And I like to snipe, but it's like all I do. And if I'm not getting one-hit sniping kills, and you can say, whoever can say, oh, we'll aim for the head, noob. No, you should not have to be good at headshots to be a good sniper. Are you listening to me? And it's just, so they kind of tried to make this conglomeration of both to increase the lethality, but at the same time, they changed a lot of things to be more lethal, but left some things the same, because they're like, well, they did enough damage, so the other games, but I disagree. So I went into this game thinking, okay, there's a core mode right now. They're going to do like Battlefield one, and they're gonna release a hardcore later. Did not happen. Still does not happen. I tweet them like once a week about it. Like, hey,
I saw that.
And they never get back to me, but they have not blocked me yet, so there's hope. I doubt it's coming at this point.
Right. Continue doubting.
We kind of knew before Battlefield 5 released, we didn't know, but we speculated this game is going to have a Battle Royale mode, because Call of Duty did, and we were like, well, they're old rivals, they're going to do something similar. So, finally we got news that it's coming on March 25th, so in just a couple of days. So I re-downloaded Battlefield 5 for this, and it's going to give me license to play it again. I will play it for this, because I can deal with that kind of damage system in a Battle Royale. It's going to be like PUBG, but better from the looks of it.
Right.
So they're going to be releasing this enormous map, Halvi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's Norwegian. I looked up how to pronounce it before I said it. I've been practicing this all day. Halvi.
Halvi.
It's going to be 10 times larger than Himada, which is the biggest map on Battlefield 5 multiplayer right now, which is pretty huge. So it's going to be still 64 players, which is the max size for any Battlefield match. They're going to have solo and 16 4-player squads available at start, and they're going to release duos in April, apparently. And so the dome or shield from like PUBG or Fortnite is going to be the Firestorm, which is a ring of fire that's moving in. And it was so epic watching the trailer, because you see like the fire coming in and it's crumbling the houses, because they're going to bring in the Battlefield 5 trademark destructible environments to the Battle Royale mode, which is going to be like a crazy experience for Battle Royale. And also in that, they're going to be bringing in some like supply drops, kind of like you get in PUBG. Only they're going to come with kill streak-y things from like Call of Duty. Like you're going to get access to V1 rockets, and you're going to get vehicle call-ins. There's a scene in the trailer where they parachute in a Panzer IV, which is wild to me, but it's something you can do.
Not realistic.
Not realistic in the slightest. There's also I don't know anything about the history of aviation. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a helicopter, and this game is based in like 1944. It says it's a prototype. I don't know when the prototype helicopter came out. If you know, feel free to shout me down as usual, but it just seems a little early for that. And it's going to have 17 different vehicles that you can use. So there's going to be staff cars, there's going to be tanks, there's going to be regular like civilian vehicles. And one of like the most iconic scenes from the trailer is you're on a red tractor, and you're hauling a pack gun, and you're just driving along like at full speed on this tractor. You're crashing through shit, and there's somebody on the pack gun that you're towing, and they're shooting at shit, and it's like big clusterfuck, but it looks amazing. And so they outlined the way the weapon system is going to work. There's going to be weapons with rarity, so like your legendary, your rare and epic and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, like how you're going to say this Tommy gun does more damage than this Tommy gun, but we'll see. And the added difficulty is that the best of these guns are going to be in safes and strong boxes. So it looks like you have to go through like this little either lock picking or finding a code mechanic, which will take you a few seconds, so you'll be exposed and vulnerable. And the same thing goes for like the rarest of vehicles. So like the Tigers are going to be behind these vehicle lockups and bunkers. And they are going to have these... I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say those bunkers sound like a fucking death trap.
Yes, so it has like... They're literally sunken into the ground. I don't know if they're all going to be like this. The one they showcased was. And like there's this steel door, like think of like a basement door over a concrete bunker, and you have to find a way to unlock it. Don't know how the unlock system is going to work, but and then they're going to have these periodic like supply drops drop in, like I said, where you can get better weapons. You can call in, tank support, and you can have vehicles unrealistically, just suspend your disbelief for this, unrealistically drop
not realistic.
50-ton tank can be parachuted in 1944.
With a 1944 like major parachute.
Nope, down, and those things can barely carry people. And also, they're kind of gonna bring their own twist to the dying system, kind of like Apex Legends did. And this, if when you're going down and you're bleeding out, you're gonna have the chance to fight back. You're gonna be armed with your pistol as you're bleeding out, and you're gonna be able to take some people with you if you're good enough. Granted, the pistols are not that great unless you're gonna change some damage output, but yeah. So that's Firestorm. I'm excited to play. I'm excited to stream it. I think it's gonna be exciting.
I think so. A few like keynotes about that. Those bunkers, when you open the door, and I'm not sure if it was showcased in the trailer. I didn't get a chance to look at it today. When you open the door, an alarm sounds. So yes, everybody around you knows you're going for that tank.
By daylight, when you're opening one of the last doors, and it's
Yep.
Yes, an alarm goes off. So it's going to give people some direction, but at the same time, they're all going to be rushing to somebody who's about to jump in a tiger tank. So it'll be who's ballsy enough to do it, basically.
Right. How good are you?
Yes.
To have an alarm going off and everybody around.
Yes. I did watch a little bit of squad gameplay, and this must have been like a dev playing it, somebody who knows this game inside and out, because they jumped into the thick of it and got 20 kills in about 3 minutes. And it gets you so hyped up, like, that could be me, but I know it won't. I'm probably going to die in the first 30 seconds. But that's
it's going to be like our Apex Legends run,
yes,
right?
Exactly. But it's fun. It's okay. It's having fun. It's fun.
Yeah. I think that the Firestorm is going to add something different to Battlefield. I think they're trying to jump on the train, but I think there's going to be some sort of loyalty to it. Because that train is still going. People are still doing it.
Absolutely.
Apex Legends is a major point. They're just now started season 1 on Monday, I think.
Yes.
So they're still successful. They're still doing well. Obviously, you have your Fortnite and your PUBG. Fortnite being the most popular, I think, battle royale there is. So I think Battlefield 5 is trying to jump on that train and trying to take advantage of it. But it might work out in their favor because they're doing something drastically different that no other battle royale has. Absolutely. And that is those tanks and rockets and things.
Is that people can say, oh, battle royale games are all the same, but it seems to me that every brand brings their own little twist to it, and that's enough to keep it interesting. So I'm excited for it.
Absolutely.
And that's my little fanboyism over Firestorm. So,
all right.
Go on to the next segment of the news.
Of the news, yes. Google Stadia.
Yes.
Yes. So this is a something that I'm super excited about. There's a lot of mixed opinions about it. In case you're not aware of what that is, and you're living under a rock and haven't seen anything about it.
Don't at me, Patrick. But
well, you know, Google Stadia is going to be a streaming service that you're going to be able to stream games on. It's going to be the actual project from Project Stream that Google had and tested Assassin's Creed Odyssey with. Evidently, that entire project did very, very well. So, as such, they are going to be launching that entire service to just about everyone. Some of the notes that are pretty clear here is that they're claiming that it's going to be faster processing power than both the Xbox One and PS4 combined.
Ooh, that's a ballsy.
Yeah, and
okay, Xbox One or Xbox One X? Did they specify?
I'm not sure. I didn't.
I would say, because the Xbox One X is, like, for all intents and purposes, twice as powerful as the PS4, so that would be a ballsy claim.
I mean, they're talking about, like CPU processing power, which makes sense, because you're talking about major servers.
Yes.
You're not just talking about a tiny box that is going to sit on your entertainment stand. We're talking about servers. And the processing power there, it's somewhere around 12 something or other. They had a term for it, petabytes, I believe it was, or something along those lines.
Of the console, did they to divert you for a minute, did they specify, is it going to be a console? Is it going to go off like your Chromecast?
Your Chrome browser.
Okay, so if you have a Chrome-based system, then it's going to be like... okay, so it just goes off the browser. So if you have something like Chromecast and you can access your Chrome browser and cast it to your TV, then that's all it's going to be. And you get the controller, which, by the way, does not look very pretty. Then that's all you need. And the service, obviously. Okay.
Yeah. So to give you some actual numbers, the graphics processing power is 10.7 teraflops. I don't even know what that unit is.
I don't either, but that's something that PC people use. I had to showcase what I'm eating to Nunley because he's like, "What are you eating?" This.
Hi, Nunley.
Give me 3 things.
I see you're in Shane's stream, but you're not in mine, and that's fine. The CPU is a custom 86-bit processor with 2.7 gigahertz hyper-threaded, obviously, and then 16 gigabytes of total RAM and 484 gigabytes per second of transfer speed, which is insane. That is insane.
That mean nothing to me because I don't know.
That's a lot. That's basically taking your that's basically taking your 1 terabyte hard drive and transferring it in just under 2.5 seconds.
Oh, that's exciting. Somewhere
else, wherever else. So that's a very large number, but it's super exciting. As I said, a lot of people are on the fence about it, and the reason for that is we're talking about internet speed here. Because it's a streaming service, slick. Saw that. Since it is a streaming service, we're talking about having decent internet connection.
Yes.
Which... go ahead.
That's the thing, is I'm one of those people on the fence about it, because I think back to like 2012 when there was this streaming service like Up Gaming or something like that. And it was kind of that thing where you could have, like, you paid for the service and you could stream games to your PC, but it was not too great.
Gamefly comes to mind.
Yeah, and I know things have changed since then, but I am still just a little skeptical. But sorry, go on.
No, I mean, I'm completely skeptical too. But healthy skepticism is good skepticism. I don't want to be like, Google made it, yay, let's do it. So what they're stating internet speed wise is you're looking at 25 megabytes per second to stream at 60 FPS and 1080p. Which is really odd because you're talking about, when you're thinking about FPS, my old PC brain is like, my computer's gonna have to run 60 FPS. No, we're talking about the streamer or the stream server that's on the other side that's running that for you. And bringing it to your computer. So as long as your computer has a refresh rate of at least 60, you're fine.
You're going to see 60 FPS.
Right.
If you have no graphics card to speak of.
Exactly. And that's going to be a game changer for a ton of people. Now, that being said, you probably can't stream a game and then stream yourself.
Yeah.
That's a lot of internet usage.
This will be something probably, unless you have like top tier fiber optic, like Big Daddy internet, you're probably not going to be forming any kind of Twitch career off of this. Like Bones just said, it allows peasants to play video games.
Right. And
that's fine. If you're the kind of person, you just want to play games, I don't care about streaming, I want to come home from work and I want to play a video game, that's fine. I know people work differently than us. But yeah, I mean, that's still revolutionary, but at the same time, it is kind of a drawback, because if you're like, I don't have this big system, and maybe I want to work my way up until when I can get this big system to stream, and you start off with that, you're going to have to make the decision, do you want to start saving up for that, or you want to pay high internet prices to get you there?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to start that career, and you want to start streaming, like me and you and things like that, you have to invest in the computer. At the end of the day, you have to invest in that, and you have to enjoy doing it, because you're not going to do it through this system. It's just not, it's not going to be beneficial because you're going to have to wait for any sort of lag or anything like that for your game to catch up, much less what your computer is actually capable of. However, we are on the note of the internet speed, as I said, 25 megabits per second for 60 FPS and 1080p. To do 4K and 60 FPS, you have to have 30 megabits per second. Now, that is significant for me because I could probably run a 4K game on here, but I don't think that I'd want to. It might not end well for me, and my graphics card is probably very well capable of it, but 4K is just a lot of definition. I definitely can't stream on 4K. So,
no.
Right. I 1080p is pushing it, and that's my GPU at like max. But I don't want to have to take my computer into my 4K TV in the living room to play a 4K game.
Well, that's the thing. Do you have to take it in there to play, or do you just have to go back into the office and press the, okay, stream this button, and then go back?
I assume that you're going to be able to Chromecast it.
Also, Nunley says that, it says that streaming simultaneously will be available while playing in 4K at 60 FPS, but not to mention any sort of updates the platform will have to have. At 4K, you get 1 FPS while streaming now. I assume that's what he means. Sometimes I get 1 frame while trying to stream Assassin's Creed, so that's not too far from me. Bo seems to be of the opinion, and he knows more about these things than I do, that you should have no issue unless you have, like, plebeian internet. Which, that's the thing. I think this is probably going to appeal to people who probably have, like, the bare minimum of fast.
Keep in mind, though, we are in a major metropolitan area.
Yeah.
And even in Deltona, in BFE of Orlando, I get 400 megabits per second. But that's because of where we live.
Yeah.
If you live in any state that you can think of that BFE comes to mind, you probably can't get internet there.
That's the thing. You don't even have to say state. You can just say county, because in Okeechobee, to this day, anything like 400 megabits, where I'm from, by the way, if you don't know, 400 megabits per second is the fever dream of a madman. That is not happening for like another 50 years.
100%.
County internet there. That is, like, you call up the phone service that runs for Okeechobee County, and you're like, I want to get internet. They put it in a modem. That is definitely going to be a challenge for some people.
I mean, just like in Chiefland, which is the boonies of the boonies. Just so we're clear. I go up there, and you would never think, but I see like 20 deer on the way there.
That sounds
all the time. It's great. My phone doesn't work. I can't even use it out there. You can at least use it in Okeechobee. So
yes,
places like Chiefland, there's internet signs, and legitimately I've asked, they're like, better, faster internet. 10 megabits per second. I wish I was joking.
For the people that live there, that's probably enough to check your internet, or check your email, go on Facebook, watch the odd YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. But that's my point, is that you're going to get into those places that are going to be rural America, and they're just not going to work, or much less rural Canada. There are some boonies up there too, and this service is going to be available to them. So it's like, okay, well, we can definitely get it here, and that works for us, but it doesn't work for everybody.
Well,
and that's
find some way to make it work for our neighbors in the North Theory, because that would be sad.
I mean, it's going to Canada. So Ontario, Toronto, you're talking about like major metropolitan areas, will probably be perfectly fine. My concern, and a lot of the concerns of a lot of other people, is that it's just not going to work. But they did say, and I'm going to go ahead and, Phil Harrison, who's the Google Stadia project leader, basically said in an interview with Polygon, if you have a good YouTube experience, you will have a good Stadia experience. Stadia. I don't know exactly how to pronounce this, and it was never... They said it multiple times in this interview in different ways.
It depends on how committed you are to your Latin, because it is the plural of stadium. So more than one stadium, so it is stadia. Stadia. It's up to you. Stadia. I am sad at no Latin, so... I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because I have no life.
100%. We all know this, so nothing new here.
This is
not a news portion. Thank you, Captain Obvious. All right. So the one thing that concerns me outside of the Rural America challenge with this service is what happens if your internet drops.
Absolutely. That's a pain in the ass even for the average person.
Or even if it lags. If
you're in the middle of like a single player game and you have to depend on that, and you have, I think Mass Effect when I think of this, which is the worst about autosaves. If you're in the middle of a single player game and it hasn't autosaved in a while and your internet drops, what you gonna do? Yep. That's that.
It's and Phil Harrison dodged this question hardcore in this interview. What he stated was that Google has very clever technology.
That sounds also a little bit along the lines of, I have a very great brain.
Right. I am great at everything that I do. So what he's basically saying, and this was hinted at in a variety of ways in the actual interview, is the FPS is supposed to be maintained up to a certain point, similar to like YouTube. So they're going to maintain that FPS up until the point where it can't do it anymore. So we'll see how that works and how that functions. But on the plus side, obviously, we're looking at super fast launch speeds, almost instantaneous, we're talking. There's a lot of other systems like NVIDIA. I have a NVIDIA, which is graphics card. I have an NVIDIA Android TV. And they have GeForce Now.
To learn more about this, I didn't know NVIDIA made chips for TVs.
Not a chip, it's an actual Android TV. It looks like a little... looks like it's like this... I think it's like this big, give or take. And it's like this thin.
Interesting. I would like to know more about this, but continue.
Whenever we do our sitting on my deck with wine... It's a great system, but they have a program called GeForce Now, which utilizes the same type of technology of streaming games directly from their servers to your Shield and put on your TV.
But here's the thing. Okay, to read some of the chat real quick. First of all, Bones read me by saying, if you used to playing a Bethesda game, you should know to save often, but whatever.
That's valid. He's not wrong.
Whatever. I haven't played Knights of the Old Republic in like 12 years. Leave me alone, okay? And Nunley brings up a good point, which I haven't played Fallout 4. Okay, Skyrim is really good about autosave. You autosave every time you go in and out of a building. Anyways, which is every other day. Okay, anyways. Nunley says what makes him worry of this concept is the fact that you don't outright own the games. And that's another thing for me, is, as he says, you don't own the games. So modding is not going to be a thing anymore. And it's going to basically be a console. That's fine for some people. For people like me who want to get the best out of their game, I want to mod stuff. And also, is it going to be subscription-based? Do we know this yet?
No. They're avoiding that question. 100% avoiding that question.
Then that tells me probably yes, which, depending on the price, is maybe okay. Maybe it'll be like the Netflix of video games. Maybe it'll be worse to some people. For me, personally, I would rather just buy a thing and own the thing and play the thing.
Yes and no. I will 100% agree with that, because I'm gonna agree with it, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate in the sense that I've played like Sea of Thieves and State of Decay, and those I have a gamer pass for.
Okay,
so
yes, to your point, I do have that. But I intend to fully purchase these games because the gamer pass thing can only go so long before you're spending more money than the game is worth.
Right. And I don't have an Xbox. So for me, a game pass, there's 7, 8 games, maybe 9, that we're gonna run into I don't want to play anything anymore. It's not worth it. I'm not doing anything. So I might as well just buy the games outright. But that being said, we're if playing devil's advocate here, if we are playing a game, there's certain games that you want to stream because you don't want to pay for them, because you don't know if you're going to like them. You don't know how long that game is. You know, games like Edith Finch, that game. Great game. Glad that I bought it. But, yeah, I was about to say, like, wave your hand in front of the camera. But if I could have streamed it, I would have preferred to do that, because I will probably never replay that game because there's no replayability value to it.
With that kind of thing, I get you. I love those little one-shot games, but I like waiting until they go on sale, or like, yeah, with Edith Finch, I think I bought it for like $5 on sale. Not something I'd pay $20 for or more for a one-off, even though they're very good, and shout out to the dev teams, and they did an amazing job, but at the same time, I'm not paying $20 for books. I'm not paying $20 for a narrative that's going to take me an hour and a half to play through. I'm sorry, I'm just not.
Exactly. And that's where these streaming services can come into play. Obviously, we won't know much until they come out of their closed doors and determine what developers and what companies they're going to run with for this. Obviously, Ubisoft is going to be a major player in this, which is super exciting. There's a lot of really great Ubisoft games, obviously Assassin's Creed being among them. But if you're going to stack up a bunch of low game developers, is it going to be worth a subscription price for it?
If you pay $9.99 a month and you can test the waters on as many games as you want, I would say yes. I would pay $9.99 for a month and maybe just try a little of a game every day and see, do I like this? Okay, well, this is not really reeling me in. I won't get that one. Oh, this one is really addicting. I'm going to buy that one outright. Which is kind of what I get from Game Pass. That's why I've done it for 2 months in a row, because I will outright buy State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves eventually. But
when that time comes.
But whenever we went into it to play Sea of Thieves the first time, I got a major misunderstanding from the way that the store is laid out. I thought that all of these games that are on the Microsoft Store were going to be available to us, and then I found out we have like 7 that we can play that are on Windows 10 and the Xbox, and that was supremely disappointing.
I was under the exact same assumption. Same assumption.
I'm glad that wasn't just me, because it makes it appear that way. I was like, oh, all of these games, and then I saw, what is it, We Happy Few, and I was like, oh, I've been waiting to play that all the time. I can play that just long enough to stream it or something and get the narrative, and then the pass will be over and it'll be fine. But no, you can't play it. Sorry. Forget about it.
It's so disappointing. But that's why I really, really, really like streaming services, is because even any sort of Game Pass service like Origin. That's probably going to be the next one that I try, because Origin is a more PC centric, or is PC centric really. So you're looking at hundreds of games in that one library, and that will keep me busy, and I won't have to buy any of these games outright. But on that same note, shouldn't we probably talk about the fact that every single game that you love, you're paying for a streaming service, and then you're gonna go buy the fucking game?
Yeah, that would be... and that's the thing. I don't think that these services, like Microsoft Game Pass, are stupid. And that they know these people are going to play this game long enough to beat it, and then they're never going to look at our service ever again. So they have to have some caveat to it. That's the thing. And this is how business works. That's the unfortunate thing about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still try it. I'll still definitely take a look at it and see what can happen. But it's going to be interesting. There's definitely going to be a certain level of skepticism.
For me, to be quite honest, in the long run, probably not something that I will buy unless it gets phenomenal reviews, and if the subscription model is bearable. But there is a part of me that misses the time of having a console when you could just like lay in bed and just chill, and you could have those days where you're like, I'm really addicted to this game, I'm not going to get out of bed all day, I'm going to play it, I'm going to beat it, and that's it. And I don't have that anymore, and that is kind of sad. But if I want a console, I kind of like having the physical console. Like this thing you put on your entertainment stand, and it's there, and it's pretty, and it's shiny, and you own all the games that you play. That's a little bit more appealing to me.
There's definitely an appeal to that, and I think it's the same way as like owning a computer. And even as a streamer, when I walk by the office, and even if it's not a stream day, and I see my computer's lit up because it has RGB lights and things like that on it, so it has a little glowing thing when it's sleeping. But I see all the microphones, and I see the monitors all set up, and it's like that's nice.
It's so pretty. It's like a garden, but in your house. It's like,
right.
Oh yeah, I made all of it.
It's like a nerdy garden.
Yeah, exactly. I love taking in the side of my monitors and my mic and my purple computer, and it's so nice. It's lovely.
Yeah. So, we'll see. At the end of the day, is it going to be a game changer? Possibly. I definitely think that Google is making a very good business decision here. Will it replace everything like people are so scared of? Probably not.
Will it kill consoles?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I think
I said this on Twitter earlier. I don't think that this will kill consoles any more than escalators kill stairs.
Right. Exactly. I think that there's going to be an appeal to it. I think you're going to have the people like... I hate to use like the general phrasing of like you or me, where we may have the gay people in general have disposable income the majority of the time. Stereotype.
We're gay, so we're generally wealthier than most people. No, I'm just kidding. I have $3.
Right. I have nothing in my bank account until tomorrow. But we have some of the nicer things. We do have streaming setups, and we have the ability to do what we want to do. But for those people that don't, this is going to be a great option for them. And I think it's going to be a great option for us as streamers. There's a lot of benefits to it. Will it kill consoles? No. There will still be people like myself that will go out and buy a PS5 in 2021.
You heard it here, Patrick. PS5, 2021.
Yes. I love my PlayStation. Absolutely love my PlayStation. But there's always going to be different types of people, and I think that as we grow in technology, this is going to be one of those things that everyone is going to either love the idea or absolutely hate it. And Google has enough resources. I think, as I said earlier, I think I might have mentioned this. Google has enough resources. I have very high hopes and very high expectations, but I'm skeptical about it all.
Yes, I am too. It would have to like blow off the charts for me to buy it. And if it did, I would gladly sit in bed and play my video games on my Google Stadia.
Stadia.
Nunley says that from a development standpoint, there's an oversaturation of games, so the market is harder to be successful in. I would say yes and no. I think of some developers choosing to switch to, like with Metro Exodus, to switch to Epic Game Store instead of staying on Steam, and that's because of the price cut. I think it's 70-30 on Steam, and it's like 88-12 on Epic and other things like Origin. And Steam is super oversaturated with games, but that's just what most people go to, and they either you succeed or you flop, and it's usually based on the merit of your game. I don't really think I could think of an instance when something very deserving to be noticed didn't make it on Steam.
Would you say, so as a counterpoint, Nunley, don't you think that are in the current market and where we're at now technology-wise, I think it's a lot easier to be, and this might be my personal standpoint, it is a lot easier to be successful.
Absolutely.
Because... Go ahead.
What seems to come down to me is, did you market your material well? Did you put it out on social media? Did you pay for the advertising on Steam? If yes, then your game probably did well. If no, then you probably didn't get noticed, and that's on you.
Yeah. And I think, you know, there's like Steam Greenlight, and there's a bunch of different options that, think about before Steam. First of all, I remember when Steam came out, me and my dad played Half-Life. I sat right next to him in a chair just like this and sat and watched him play. Just like this. This one, actually. This is a 20-year-old chair. No, I think that when Steam came out, people were pissed. They didn't like it.
I didn't like it because I got into PC gaming like with little casual things like the Harry Potter games on a home computer. And then when I came back and Steam was a thing, I was like, what the fuck is this?
100%. 100%. And I think that it was just an evolvement, because before Steam, what did you have to do as a game developer? You either had to be a AAA title to be noticed, or you had to upload it for free to the internet.
Also, but back then, that was when games were fire and forget. You put your game out there and it was done. Now you are constantly supporting your game until you come out with the next one that replaces it, and then people forget about that one.
Do you think that has something to do with Steam?
Yes, because Steam makes it so much easier for people to push updates. Now there's a common forum for you to say, hey Steam, I'm going to push this update on so-and-so date, and they're like, okay, cool, we'll release that then. And it just automatically updates when you open your PC if you have it set to that. Back in the day,
you had to manually download that shit.
You had to go to their website, or maybe they would send you an email, or you would follow a link to another hosting website, and you would download a hotfix, and that was it. That might be the one thing they do for you, and you were lucky if they did.
Yep. Yep, and I think that's the way the world evolved. But I think it is much easier for some of these indie developers to get their name out there because they don't have to upfront the cost to a major developer to push their game out.
Absolutely.
Now it's you do the game, you post it on Steam, rake in some revenue.
Absolutely, and that 30-70 cut is really nothing if you're a publisher like Ubisoft or making Call of Duty games or something. That's nothing to you. That's chump change.
No. Right.
Nunley says that's the same evolution as having an MP3 downloaded from LimeWire or Napster, or being able to just download it to your phone. I assume you mean from like a service like Spotify or iTunes. Yeah, having that like actually officialized is game changing.
I think so to your point, Nunley, it could make it harder. I don't think Google Stadia, haha,
We're all cultured, we are adults.
Is going to make that difficult for people. I think, and if anything, it's going to make your game, despite current levels of, so when I'm thinking, and I don't really have that much of a development standpoint, and I definitely don't work for a developer. I work across the street from EA, but I'm not anywhere in that building.
You don't ever go in there and heckle them? Like,
no.
Hey, EA, you know DICE. Hardcore mode for Battlefield 5 win?
Right. Right. If you ever decide to go heckle them, I work across the street. So,
I will remember that.
yeah. So they, ultimately, they don't necessarily, they can push out whatever they want.
Yeah, EA, that's the thing though. They can afford to flop, and who's gonna give a shit? Because it's fucking EA.
Right. But as a developer, you're thinking about the mean computer setup that people have.
Yes.
Because I, or you, or Jonathan, because Jonathan has the same computer that I do, but we all probably don't have these, oh my god, here's a liquid-cooled, major gaming computer. My computer's great, but it's not like that. It's not going to easily pass at 100 FPS for anything. So Google Stadia is going to change that for a lot of people. They're going to be able to potentially make games, which could be a downside to us and to everybody. They're going to make games that are going to be incredibly graphic intensive, and you're able to do that. Because people don't need the computer anymore to actually run the game.
And if you're a 60 FPS plus snob like me, it's gonna hit that spot that consoles just don't reach.
I need 60 FPS.
Okay, I do. It's smooth, I like it, it's creamy, like peanut butter.
V-Sync? Turn my nose up at you.
We actually had this discussion.
Yes,
today.
we did.
I tried to fix my stream problem, everybody's like, lower your settings, limit the FPS. Why would I do that?
Max FPS? Ha! I scoff at thee. I'm going to limit my frame rate. How dare you?
Yeah, I would never in a million. I would rather eat my shoes than limit my frame rate. Nunley asks, do you think that PC players are going to feel a slight sting from this?
Probably. If developers are going to go in the way that I think that they're going to go in, they're going to use like Unreal engines and things like that that are constantly evolving and incredibly graphic intensive, because guaranteed our current technology level matches absolutely nothing as compared to what we are possible of producing. And that is to say, the graphics that we see in things like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you could make better, but you're not. I mean, it doesn't take much. So,
read me.
So I think that there's definitely a possibility for those developers to push the limits of those engines, because the Google Stadia servers are going to be able to handle it a lot more than my desktop PC is. So that means that those games, for me to run the way that I want them to run, I'm going to need this badass computer that I'm going to need to upgrade. If we thought that internet or that hardware and things like that constantly being updated was bad now, services like these are going to push that limit.
And also what you said about like updates and things before, if you have the internet for Stadia to work, excuse me, for Stadia to work for you, then it doesn't make it very clear if like updates are going to be passive, like even whenever the system is like powered down or whatever, how that's going to work. Or if you just like log on, you're like, oh, I have an update. It'll take you 2 seconds anyways, so it's going to be nothing to you if you have the internet to make this thing work properly.
Right. And I don't ever think that there's going to be anything that's like forever.
Help! I don't know what I did. It's okay. There we go.
There you go. So I don't think that you're ever going to have that issue if you have the internet. Updating wise, I think it's just they're going to push updates to the game as we would push up or update our games. So we'll see, but I'm hoping that at some point down the road we're going to see games built by AI.
I don't know. I have a healthy fear of AI. I have seen Terminator. I know how this ends.
Yeah, I think AI is an interesting concept. There already is AI. And you want to talk about the leader of AI? Google.
I was built by Google.
Wow.
I wasn't supposed to say that.
And this is when I self-destruct.
Swatted. No.
Yeah, I mean, the most recent update to Google's AI is it'll make freaking appointments for you.
Wow, serious shaking.
Well, no, it'll make the phone call. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that. I have Hulu Plus and Netflix. I have not seen an advertisement in 6 years.
I mean, that's fair. I watched the Google conference when they launched the new Pixel and all that stuff. But if you have Google Assistant, and I have it on my phone, and we have Google Homes and stuff like that. But if you're literally like, hey, Google, schedule an appointment for me at haircuttery or whatever.
Wait,
or
you say they make the phone call. Does that mean that someone at the haircuttery is going to pick up the phone and it's going to be like, making an appointment for Patrick Burris?
No. Now I need to look it up. And I'm gonna put it up here. Let's see. Will this be a good one? Here.
A big part of getting things done is making a phone call. You may want to get an oil change schedule, maybe call a plumber in the middle of the week, or even schedule a haircut appointment. You know, we are working hard to help you.
I'm going to pause this and tell you that it's on my stream, in case you actually want to watch it.
Okay, I do. 1 second. Let me pop on over. Pop on over.
Pop on over. Pop on over.
Yes, we all know that song from GTA. It's not pop. It's like come or something on over, something along those lines. Anyway. Okay. I'm ready whenever you are. I want to see this thing. I want to see this thing do a
those
thing.
Moments. We want to connect users to businesses in a good way. Businesses actually rely a lot on this, but even in the US, 60% of small businesses don't have an online booking system set up.
Oops.
We think AI can help with this problem.
Will you come over by idle?
So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
Not by yet. Here we go.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around?
At 12 p.m.
We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15.
Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for?
Just a woman's haircut for now.
Okay, we have a 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. is fine.
Okay, what's her first name?
The first name is Lisa.
Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Have a great day. Bye.
So did you catch all of that?
Oh my god, and so that's all AI. That's not a person.
Not at all. That is
Wow.
strictly Google.
That
And they
is
do it...
crazy.
They do it for a restaurant too. And it was crazy, and I'm going to try to find it real quick because, and we're going off on another tangent, but they call a Chinese restaurant.
Nick has kind of the same healthy skepticism of this I do. He says it's probably a contrived example, which is like the best case scenario of how this might sound completely human and fluid. Which is kind of, I don't know. I mean, I have a great hope for AI in the future, but also, this segment has run really long.
It has.
So do we want to wrap it up and take a break, and then we can come back and try to, before it's 4 a.m., go through what we've been playing lately, and yeah, you want to do that?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Alright, let's go take a break and refresh our drinks, gents, and we will see you when we come back. Awesome. Alright.
You can't even look me in the eyes when you say you'll make this right. I've heard all these words 1,000 times. You won't ever change your ways, doing what you like. Well, I'm no one's fool. Well, you can keep on talking, talking. No, I think don't mean nothing, nothing. The same old thing again and again. Well, I know I'm fool. I guess you best start walking, walking. 'Cause this time I'm not joking, joking. I've heard all this again and again. Well, I You would wipe away my tears, so sincere. Turn gray skies to blue. You won't ever change your ways, doing what you do. Well, you can keep on talking, talking. No, I think don't mean nothing, nothing. The same old thing again
We're back.
And we're back. Yes. All right. So, I had a lot of stuff to talk about that I planned for the hands-on segment, but we can always move that to another time. Because I know it's gotten a little late, and that first segment ran almost 2 hours. So Patrick, what have you been playing lately? Besides D&D, of course.
I've been playing a lot of LSPDFR, or trying to. So obviously LSPDFR, if you watched my stream yesterday, is a GTA 5 mod, heavily modded. By that I mean we're talking I have to install like 30 something mods to get it to work and get it to work the way that I want it to.
Aw, 30 mods, you're so cute. Me playing Skyrim with 300 dubs. This isn't a contest.
But we will. It's fun. There's a lot of stuff that I need to fix still on it, but I'm looking forward to playing it again. That being said, the new update is long overdue for LSPDFR. It was like 0.3. It's now 0.4.1, I think. So it's definitely a long overdue mod, but it's definitely something that I've been enjoying. Hopefully I'll probably be streaming it quite a bit.
So does that have like a separate campaign, or is it all just random encounters?
It's not a campaign, it's all random encounters.
Okay.
I need to reset my mic, evidently. Great! Give me 1 second. It's all random encounters, but it's all randomly generated calls. But you can also do traffic stops, pedestrian stops, the whole 9 yards, whatever works. But I'll let you go into whatever you've been playing, mostly, other than because I've only been playing Sea of Thieves and LSPDFR recently. State of Decay, which you can talk about if you would like.
Well, I'm juggling about 80 things right now because that's just my life. I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed, and I'm really sad that it doesn't work very well on stream because as much as I love that game, I like playing it alongside you guys, so I don't want to play it by myself. It's really good though. I'm a really big ancient Greece nerd, so the graphics and seeing ancient Greece rebuilt and reimagined in that game is a sexual experience for me. But, I mean, I've only played it for 2 days, and it's 10 hours that I've played it. So, I don't really know a lot about it yet. I'm probably not very far into it in the grand scheme of things. But, other than that, State of Decay is really fun. I really like... I'm always looking for a new co-op survival-style game to play, so I was really happy to have that one, because I played the first State of Decay, and it was not too great, so didn't really get into it. But this one is fun. My one complaint, I think, would have to be is how you're kind of tethered to each other, as we discovered to our cost.
That's true.
I don't see why there's a reason that we both shouldn't be able to run in opposite directions to either end of the map and do things if we want to. But there appears to be some kind of undecided length of radius in which whoever is hosting cannot get too far away from the person that's joined them, and vice versa, before they get teleported.
It's definitely, you can see it. If you're on your map, it's that orange circle, which isn't there normally. And it's always tethered to you, or whoever the person is that's hosting it. But it's fun. I think the gripe that I have with State of Decay 2 is that you can't build a community together.
Yes, that is also, it's instanced to whoever holds this, like, whoever's hosting. That is a little strange to me, too. I don't get the line of thought behind that decision, but it's a fun game. And I can kind of understand the tether thing, because you're probably meant to be playing together. Like,
right.
For example, if you're like, there's this gas station, like, 50 feet up the street, and I'm gonna go to this lumber yard half a mile away, we'll go get our things, and come back, and it'll be really efficient, but you can't do that. So, that's kind of dumb about that game.
I agree. I think So that's my gripe, and I'm not entirely sure that I do love the game, and I think that it's definitely something that I will continue to play. The co-op portion of the game seems a little bit too unfinished for me.
It could be more actual co-op because
Right.
You should be building a community together. It should not be this person's community that you're just kind of lending labor to.
Right. Exactly.
And Nunley says, sort of similar to Fallout 76, but I don't know because I've never played Fallout 76 because I have heard awful things.
Yes. And that was so depressing for me because I'm such a huge Fallout person and I just heard awful things about 76.
It's already $15 on most stores, so...
Yeah, and that's saying something about the game when Fallout 4 is still like 30 or something like that. So, you know, we're running into the whole do you buy it and play it and try it part of my brain, or do you just say and be done with it?
I mean, for $15, if you got it and we play, and I don't know how many people can play together.
4, I think.
4?
Yeah.
So, like, you, me, John, and our undecided 4th candidate. If you guys got it, I would buy it and give it a chance. Nunley says it has the issue where every player can't travels with them when they leave the server that they're on. Oh, I see. Oh, that's not an issue. Sorry, I read that wrong. That's okay. But yeah, if you guys got it, I would give it a try. I don't know if it'd be like my mainline game, but I would give it a chance.
I'm not sure that I would even give it that chance.
Yeah,
because
I don't know.
because yes, State of Decay 2, in the sense of co-op and the ability to do something, is it's so sad because like the stuff that I get, because we all get random containers in a given area, which is nice because the stuff that I take goes into my own personal inventory and I can use your inventory area to access my own. But if we do anything in excess of that, it goes directly to you, and vice versa. So if you're playing on my server, your stuff you do is gonna come to me. So that aspect sucks because it's like I wish that I could log on to State of Decay on our server and just play it either by myself or with you or with anybody else and enjoy that. But that's probably a really difficult system to implement.
Yes, but I wish that they had thought of something. I mean, I like that game, but it does, in that sense of the tether and the way the inventory system works, it does fall a little short. But maybe with enough pressure, maybe they'll change some of those things. Because, I mean, it is still a relatively new game.
True. Very true.
But other than that, I started playing Shadow of Mordor for the first time, which I know I'm super late. Nunley says like a private server similar to Minecraft. Yes, that would be an answer.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't have to pay for it, though. But Shadow of Mordor, since Assassin's Creed Odyssey wants to be a little bitch on stream, it's really fun. I'm really liking it. It's just a little, like, complex because there are a lot of kind of wonky control layouts because you have a lot of different powers and stuff if you're not familiar with the game. But I am excited to see more about that. And I also played this mobile game called Florence, which was quite good. However, I wrote like a 7-page dissertation on my experience with that game, so that might be something for another night because that will take quite a long time to go through.
I did see that.
We are both running a little late here.
I did see that. I think that that was a mobile game, right? That you wrote this giant... Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I did read it, and it looked interesting. I don't know that I'd buy it, but it looked interesting. I don't know. I think that when it comes to games like State of Decay, like Nunley said, a private server might be a great idea. It would be expensive.
That's the thing, though. If you, like, the default, besides Java Minecraft, if you play it on console or the Windows 10 version and you play multiplayer, you are both contributing to the same thing for free, and that is the base game. You should not have to sync, and multiplayer in the Java version should be a thing. You should not just think to purchasing a server to actually truly play together.
That's true. That's very true.
That's just a money grab, and it's not like Microsoft is not making enough money. So
definitely not. I think that's pretty much all that I've been playing recently. I did play Shadow of Mordor before. I did like that game quite a bit. It is complex, but it is a very good game. I think that's one of those games that kind of sucks you in, like The Witcher.
yes.
Where it's almost never ending. Does that game ever end? Because I'm not entirely sure that I ever finished it.
Finished that game and still have not finished that game.
Okay.
So, no.
But we'll see. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I've covered recently. There's always potential for more. Outlast. I have played Outlast.
Ooh, isn't that a horror game?
Yes.
Oh, no thank you. No thank you, not for me.
Yeah. I've definitely played Outlast 2, crazy and creepy. There's probably a clip in my Twitch somewhere where I'm screaming.
It's for that reason that I kind of want to do like a lights out stream, but I'd have to either buy an IR camera or modify the one I have or one like it to pick up IR light, and you could have like infrared coming on you with the lights out so the camera can see you. I think that would be fun, but that's kind of in the works.
Yeah, that's like taking it to the next level.
Yes. Or like Nunley says, you can do like a scary camera, flashlight. Wait, I'm sorry. No, he might be talking about something else. Scary camera plus flashlight plus battery mechanics. That's what it was? Okay.
So Outlast, so essentially, not to delve way too into it. So Outlast essentially is you crash land on this, without giving too much, you crash land in a helicopter in this forest, right? You were going there to do a documentary, so you're the cameraman, and you have your camera, right?
Okay.
It's dark as F outside, and the only thing that you have is to sit there and use your camera to see everything. And it is, there's an infrared version of your camera, so you can, it's night vision essentially, so everything's green, which is scary in and of itself. It does have like, so you have 0 weapons, FYI, in this game. Absolutely none. You just have your camera. And it has like listening aspect to it, so you turn on your microphone essentially, and you can hear what's coming from the left, and you can hear what's coming from the right, and it's amplified in your ears. So me wearing my gaming headset, it's like I can't hear anything but what's going on in that, and you just hear people moaning, and you hear people walking around, and you hear people screaming.
No, thank you.
Worst part about it is that it's dark, so you have to keep your infrared on, or your night vision on, and you have to find batteries for your camera throughout the world. If you don't do it, if you don't do it, you run out and it's pitch black.
Ooh, no thank you.
Very, very gory too. It's very gory, very creepy. It puts you in this flashback zone where you think you're going crazy. And there's a clip of me walking through this school, and jump scares happen.
Oh no.
It's great. It's very good, Kuiper. There's probably like 1 or 2 clips of me screaming down on my Twitch. But definitely something that you'd want to play in the dark. And I have a hue light, and I think I've changed it once when I played the game to like a dark purple, so that the camera can still see me, but it's still pretty dark in here.
I wish I could play games like that because I feel like I'm missing out on some good narratives. However, I do not like to be scared in the slightest. Do not like.
No, you should look. There's a clip of me in my Twitch,
I will look it up
whenever.
And share it abroad.
Yes, it is Very creepy. But that's pretty much all I've been playing. Obviously, we've played Apex recently. There's nothing special about that and nothing necessarily to note, but...
Yeah, I think everybody's got Apex by now.
Yep.
Well, I think that might be it for tonight then. We ran a little bit longer than I thought we would, so I'm
2
happy
hours.
I'm happy for us. But I just want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight. Thank you, Patrick, for joining and talking to me late into the evening.
And thank
about
you.
Video games. We both have work tomorrow at 6 a.m., so I'm so excited about that. All right, guys. Well, I think that's gonna be it for tonight. I hope we will do this again soon. And I will see you next time. Have a good night. Love you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Woo! That was fun.